Some villains are self-made, while some get the darkness of their hearts due to whatever they have gone through. But Tyler is just a psycho.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
A psycho that has multiple personality disorder, but doesn't know about this. He is unaware of his multiple personalities, and he keeps using his two personalities to commit several crimes that he can't attribute to himself. In the world of villains, Tyler Durden stands on the zenith of all nominations. In the cinematic work of art titled Fight Club, Tyler shows his fighting and destruction skills that no villain can compete with. It all starts on a very sad night. Tyler is seen with a gun in a man's mouth. The man who turns out to be his real personality would be referred to in this criminal episode as the narrator. Tyler contemplates shooting the gun, but he isn't changing his mind like you are thinking. Instead, he is considering allowing the narrator to say his last words. He gives his real personality 3 minutes to think and talk, and in that kind of situation, the narrator doesn't even have a word. He has gone through so much. He also knows of Tyler's terror, so he knows he can't survive that day. He thinks about his life and how he had found himself in that situation. About 6 months ago, he had insomnia. He couldn't sleep, and he was a slave to capitalism. He kept working day and night, and he started getting eye bags. He eventually visited the hospital for sleeping drugs, but the doctor advised that he get a good natural sleep. To replace therapy, he decides to start attending group meetings of people who are about to die. He starts with meetings of people with testicular cancer. During these meetings, he can cop free hugs from themselves, and he relaxes. As time went on, he eventually started sleeping. He slept like a baby, and he was excited. He continued like this, attending all meetings, including the ones on blood cancer. What kind of morally degenerate is this man? At least that's not a crime. He doesn't care about the moral compass, until one day when he meets a mirror of himself, a lady named Marla Singer. Just like him, Marla attends every meeting. He sees her lies as a reflection of his lies, which makes him furious. Seeing that his lies are getting exposed, he returns to ground zero. Again, he loses sleep and he is frustrated. So he confronts Marla and begs her to stop attending the meetings. Eventually, they reach a decision where they share these meetings among themselves. Two morally degenerates who can't even condone each other's excesses. They share numbers to track each other too. Some days later, he attends a business trip. He sits beside the nemesis of his life, the second personality he had created to help him do the things he finds difficult to do by himself. In the plane, Tyler Durded. Maybe due to their psychotic attitude made them click so fast. As fate will have it, they are using the same briefcase.
We have the exact same briefcase.
Tyler introduces himself to him as a soap maker. They talk well and exchange their numbers. Even on the plane, Tyler was already telling him he could make bombs by mixing several soaps to make them explode.
You can make all kinds of explosives using simple household items.
When they eventually land, the narrator's briefcase isn't cleared because it makes explosive sounds. He returns home and his house has exploded. Hence, he calls his nemesis Tyler for a home. Tyler meets with him, but their adventure doesn't end so well. Tyler asks him to get a hotel and asks him to hit him.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
The man refuses to hit Tyler, saying he doesn't like fighting. But since Tyler insists, he falls victim and hits Tyler. After he does, Tyler gives him a blow. Can we call this attack Tyler's first assault crime? I doubt that, since it was willingly. That night, they hit each other repeatedly and got several bruises. Upon getting to know Tyler better, the narrator finds out Tyler deals with illegal pornography and works at night by switching the tapes and video. which is a crime punishable by imprisonment of not less than a year and fines of not less than $50,000. Also, he works as a party rocker. He serves at parties, and when he serves, he urinates on guests' meals. Ew. While I won't call this a crime, it is against the moral compass. What kind of degenerate is this? He also engages in fights in front of his house every day. And this is also the crime of assault, which is a punishable offense. We now have about 2 offenses down the line for Tyler, and several more to add to him. Several months later, Tyler eventually opens the Fight Club, where several people come to fight. Within several days, they got more people interested in joining this club. Tyler remains with just 2 crimes on his head, until Marla calls the poor narrator. The man picks up the call, but he is very angry to have Marla back in his life. He leaves the call hanging and goes to sleep, but wakes up with one of the greatest shocks of his life. Marla is in his house. He confronts Tyler, who narrates that he had seen the hanging call and found out Marla was about to die from an overdose.
Or will it just be a death hairball?
So he left for Marla's house. He went there and saved her, then brought her home. This man hates the entire idea, but all turns for the worse for him when he starts hearing the soundtrack of Marla and Tyler's intercourse. They disturb him with noises, and he can't wait for an opportunity to get freed of Marla. Sometime later, the narrator receives a call from the police, and they inform him that they have found signs of explosives in his house, and they think he had committed arson on his building. Could the explosives in his briefcase be real? Could he have done all these things without knowing it? All these questions have no answer, as he completely denies doing anything against the law.
Are you saying I'm a suspect?
That night, Tyler tells him they will make soap, and the ingredients are women's fat. They break into a liposuction hospital, which is breaking and entering and counts as Tyler's 3rd crime, a felony that carries up to 12 months in prison and a fine of up to $2,500 years. Judging from Tyler's imprisonment, he should be spending not less than 5 years in prison and must have been bankrupt due to payment of fines. After breaking in, they steal women's removed fat, an offense of stealing, which is a grand theft punishable by a year of imprisonment. Then they use this fat to make soaps and sell it to a company that buys it for $20. The building owner where Tyler is hosting his fight club also arrives, and the man insists they leave his building. Occupying that illegal home is trespass, and this man doesn't even intend to persecute them. Instead, he goes ahead to hit Tyler repeatedly. Tyler watches as this man hits him because he is planning a great revenge. When the man is exhausted, Tyler fights back. He hits the man repeatedly until the man eventually gives up the property for him. That is another assault, but I guess we can give him the defense of provocation and self-defense. Well, that is for the judge to decide, and we are counting that as Tyler's 5th crime. Following that, they now have freedom, and they start disturbing the peace of every citizen. He could go around the city to intentionally taunt passerby by pouring water on him, hitting them by the roadside, and even going into their office to hurt them. All of these are another count of disturbing the peace, which is punishable by 3 months in jail and up to a $400 fine, and several counts of the same offense. By now, I can count not less than 8 years in prison for Tyler. Their acts increase, and they start destroying buildings.
One up in Newcastle. Yeah, did you start that one?
An act of vandalization is punishable by fines depending on the value of the building they had destroyed. After this, they break into a store and threaten the owner of the store, Raymond. Tyler asks Raymond what he wants to be in the future. And when Raymond says he wants to be a veterinarian, he threatens Raymond with a gun, asking him that he must become what he wants within a few months, or else he will come back and kill Raymond. Tyler adds the crime of threats to injure or kill another to his list of crimes, which ranges from breaking and entering, illegal fighting rings, assaults, stealing, vandalization, and several others. At this point, Tyler should have no less than 15 years imprisonment and about $200,000 in fines to pay when caught. Lest I forget, Tyler is presently facing a class action, which had been brought up by the owner of the hotel where he pissed on their floor. This doesn't slow Tyler down in his crimes. Instead, it fuels him more, and he decides that it is time to have a bigger circle. He starts a training where he brings several people ready to work with him together. He trains them for months, making them fight each other until he certifies that they are strong enough for all his missions. He calls this Project Mayhem, and he doesn't tell the narrator about this. They move for their first mission, which is to set fire on a building, a crime of arson, which is punishable by a maximum of 20 years in prison and a minimum of 5 years. Fortunately, there is no victims of his arson. He doesn't feel any remorse about his violent attitude. Instead, he organizes a party between himself and all the members of his team so they can celebrate their first action. When the narrator finds out, he gets furious and confronts Tyler from hiding it from him. They also watch the news here. The commissioner of police set up a team to investigate the illegal boxing ring that had been opened by Tyler. As revenge, Tyler attends his party with his boys, and when he goes to the restroom, they attack him and beat him up.
You're going to publicly state that there is no underground group.
The narrator gets angry that Tyler is hiding things from him, and Tyler drives them into an accident. They return home that evening, which is the last time he sees Tyler. Several weeks later, whenever he asks the members of Project Mayhem about where Tyler is, they look at him awkwardly. Marla also visits him, and he tells her that Tyler can't be found, but she looks at him stupidly. He receives a call from the police regarding the investigation of his condo, and he immediately knows that he needs to find Tyler. He takes a plane and finds Tyler in every city, but people look at him suspiciously. However, he can see signs of Tyler around because there are boxing rings and injured faces around. He eventually goes to a restaurant where the attendant tells him he is Tyler.
You're the one who gave me this.
He is shocked, and he calls Marla to know if he ever had intimacy with her. He is shocked as she tells him they have had intercourse several times. He wonders what is wrong until Tyler appears to him, telling him that they are split personalities. The narrator wanted a change of life. He was tired after Marla had destroyed his therapy session. Hence, he developed an alter personality to do all the things he couldn't do for himself and to create chaos. The real Tyler he knows doesn't exist, and he is Tyler. He remembers when he was hitting himself after his condo got burnt, how he had intercourse with Marla, and the other things he did. He realizes he must stop Tyler and goes out to find Tyler. He finds out Tyler has planned to set off an explosive on consumer credit companies. He needs to stop the things Tyler had in plans, and he visits the police. He finds out that Tyler has also commissioned the police to fight anyone who goes against the project.
I'm giving you a direct order. We are aborting this mission.
He runs away from the police and tries to find Tyler. He eventually confronts Tyler, and they start to fight. Tyler eventually overpowers him and ties him, puts him in the chair he is in at the beginning of the movie, and the narrator admits that he is the one at fault. He created Tyler, and he has to end Tyler. He shoots himself in the cheek, and Tyler disappears. Marla eventually arrives, and together they watch the buildings blow up, which is his 10th crime in the movie. He has committed another arson, and he has about 30 years imprisonment and about $300,000 fine to pay if he is caught on several counts of assaults, breaking and entering, stealing, pornography and illegal videos, arson, vandalization, disturbing the peace of the people, blackmailing, the use of threat to kill, and several more offenses. The question now remains, Do you think the defense of mental incapacity can avail Tyler of these offenses? He isn't aware of his altered personality, and he also tries several means to end it. Can it avail him? Let me know what you think in the comment section.